Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Thank you for joining me wherever you are joining me. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. And if you're joining me on the YouTube channel, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. I heard SEC Commissioner, I think it was Greg Sankey, say that he felt bad for what was happening to the Big 12, excuse me. So I just noticed my banner all messed up right there. That he felt bad for what was going on in the Big 12. And I couldn't help but laugh, right? Like, why should he feel bad for the Big 12? His conference is the conference that essentially started all of this chain of events. It was his conference, the SEC, that spends more money than any other conference. It's his conference, the SEC, that went out to pilfer other conferences' teams so that they could bolster their conference. It's his conference that continued. Remember, it's the SEC, or people trying to run to the SEC, and what the SEC provides them, at least what they believe the SEC provides them, which is more money. It is the SEC taking the best teams from another conference. The SEC first went in and took Texas A&M and they took Missouri from the Big 12. Okay, no big deal, right? No big deal. Texas A&M is a brand. Missouri is a location. Not that big a deal. You're not going to cripple the Big 12 by taking those names. You're not going to make it hard for the Big 12 to exist by taking those names. So no harm, no foul. Big 12 just adds, we're not even going to add anybody. We're just going to stick with what we have. Everybody can play each other. They sold it as, it's a true conference champion. And then they went back and had a conference championship after everybody plays everybody. I don't want to get into it. And so now the Big 12 is sitting here going, all right, we'll be okay. We'll be fine. Except the SEC comes back and steals the two best teams in the conference. You take powerhouse brand, because they're not a powerhouse football team. You take the powerhouse brand in Texas. You take the powerhouse brand in Oklahoma. You cripple the entire infrastructure of the Big 12 by taking the two best teams. By getting rid of the two best teams from the conference, you cripple the entire conference. And so, if you're going to cripple the entire conference, what is that conference to do except go and reach out to grab other people's talent, to try to bring them in? What do the conferences that are looking at you load up on all of these traditional powers and all of these traditional brands? What are they to do? They've got to go out and get other traditional brands, traditional powers. It's a cyclical effect. The SEC started it, and now for Sankey to come out and go, oh, well, I feel bad. You didn't feel bad when y'all were taking Texas and Oklahoma from the Big 12. You didn't feel bad then. All you cared about was the bottom line. All you cared about was the money, the extra reach of the network that would bring more money. That's all that mattered. See, this is what I'm telling you when I say the hypocrites are going to hypocrite. Because what we see happening in college sports is only based off greed. The same greed of people who say, don't pay the players. They're already getting paid with a scholarship. They don't see money from that scholarship. They see an education where even within that education, people on the athletics teams try to steer them into which programs to do, what classes to take, so that it doesn't interrupt the flow of their practices. These players are told publicly, hey, it's school, then it's sports. And then privately, they're told it's sports, it's more sports, and then it's school. Don't tell me that's not going on. I went to college. I played sports. I didn't even play at the highest level. I didn't play at a Georgia or Alabama. So you're telling me if it's going on at my level, it's not going on at Georgia or Alabama? Get the out of here. We know it is. We know it is. And yet they fought tooth and nail to keep players from earning money off their name, image, and likeness. They didn't keep them from, they didn't say, hey, we just don't want to pay you. They didn't even want them to make money off their name, image, and likeness. It was only once like governors got involved and put legislation in place that said that this was going to be allowed, that the NCAA acquiesced. And now all of these coaches and all of these conference commissioners and all of these ADs are running around trying to find a way to get that power back. Oh, we're going to have collectives where then the coaches can disseminate the money to the play. What? I can tell you one thing. If I was a player, what I'm not going to do is I'm not putting my NIL money into a pool so that you can then decide arbitrarily how my money gets disseminated amongst other people who don't have the same level of worth as me. If I'm a young man and I'm a brand, right? If I can play football, because that matters first, but if I can play football and I'm a brand, then I am going to take the money from my brand and put it to me. I can't sign with a shoe company and play for you because you already are endorsed by a shoe company. So I can't even get a Nike deal as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old football player with a million followers. I can't get a brand label deal because it's going to conflict with your label that you're making money off of. But the coach can sign a deal. Part of the deal that the team gets also involves money that the coach gets. So the team's getting money, the coach is getting money, players not getting money. Somebody make it make sense. All of this conference realignment that's happening isn't based off of a better existence for the players. It's based off more money for the schools. Period. End. It's based off more money for the schools. Oh, well, you know, if the school's getting more money, then the players will get more money. Show me. They have a cap on how much money they can get over their scholarship. So it's not like their scholarships there can be money added to the scholarship. They have a cap on how much money beyond what it takes for you to pay for your education free and clear. So yeah, a player might get, depending upon the level, a player might get a sizable refund check if they take out like another loan. Like if they take out an unsubsidized loan or a subsidized loan on top of their scholarship, they might get a hefty refund check. But that is not the school paying. That's the kid trying to manipulate the situation to help them. And I'm supposed to feel bad because the Pac-12 is getting raided. I'm supposed to feel bad because the Pac-12 is no longer going to exist Because their business practices suck? Somebody make it make sense to me, because it doesn't make any sense. Why should we feel bad for the Big 12? During the original conference realignment years ago, the Big 12 stole from the Pac-12. I'm sorry, the Pac-12 stole from the Big 12. They stole Colorado. They stole Washington State, I believe. Maybe. I might be wrong about that. They stole another team, though. So they were out there stealing teams. It used to be the Pac-10. They added 2 teams. It was Utah. Now I got it. It used to be the Pac-10. They added Colorado and Utah, made it the Pac-12. Why? Because they wanted to have a conference championship. They wanted to be able to split into the North and the South, or the East. I don't know how they did it. They wanted to be able to have a true conference championship. Why? Because there was more money in a conference championship. Guess how much money that the players got? 0. Yet in every coach's contract, if they win the championship, there's a bonus. So the coach gets a bonus. The coach gets a bonus. The team gets more money. And what do? You just get the players a nicer meal that you probably got sponsored by somebody, so it didn't even come out of your budget. Where's the cold, hard cash that goes in the hands of the players when they win you a national title? Oh, the collective is going to pay for them. Hey, let's make more money off of the backs of these players, because whoever's running that collective, are they doing it for free? The people who actually run the collective, do they run the collective for free? When they're going out to have these meetings with these companies to try to garner more more money in NIL deals, who's paying for the travel? It's coming out of that collective money. It's like any nonprofit. You think a nonprofit, 100% of the proceeds in a nonprofit go to whatever the cause is? No. The people who run the nonprofit have to be able to operate and live and exist. And if their job is to work for the nonprofit, then they're getting paid. So all of these colleges out here, the head coaches are making more money. The ADs are making more money. The athletic trainers are making more money. The doctors are making more money. The physios, the strength and conditioning coordinators, they're all making more money. You know who's not making more money? The players. So what do I care? Why would I care if USC and UCLA go to the Big Ten, even though it's a farce? Because the Big Ten is supposed to be a Midwestern conference, and UCLA and USC are the furthest thing from Midwest you can be. Cool, I don't care. It's not like it's going to result in more money for the players. If there was anything, the players should strike. Oh, y'all are just going to keep moving around for the sake of money? You know what? If we're not getting any of this money, nobody's doing anything. We're out of here. But the players won't, because of fear. I don't blame them. They don't know any better. If the NFL running backs, if the NFL players won't stand up for themselves with how these running backs are being treated, if they won't come to the defense of these running backs, if they won't stand up and protest and say, hey, we're not playing with this franchise tag anymore, if they won't do any of that, why would I expect the college kids to do it? If the professionals are afraid to show their teeth for fear that they just might be passed over, why would I expect the college kids to do it? And you know why I wouldn't? Because the NFL players know that if they decide not to play, there'll be 100 other people tomorrow waiting to take their spot. There'll be 100 other people tomorrow say, I'll cross the line to go and play. And in college, if those kids decided, hey, we're going to protest, you know what would happen? There would be a million other kids saying, man, they tripping. I'll do it right now. Come sign me. Because there ain't no loyalty in the game. And in the end, the players are the only ones that get screwed on it. They're the only ones that take the L. So I'm not going to feel bad for the Pac-12 no longer existing. The Pac-12 only existed for a few years in my mind anyway. It's a conference that was put together and constructed so that 1 to 2 teams would flourish. When the other teams started flourishing, when the Oregons and the Washingtons and these other teams started winning championships instead in Stanford instead of USC, guess what happened? The brand went down because USC is the brand that floats the ship for the Pac-12. So if there's only one team floating the ship for the Pac-12, why should that one team be beholden to the Pac-12? See ya. Texas was so big that they didn't even need the Pac-10's money. I mean, the Big 12's money. They had their own network. And so now their network, which is under ESPN, gets folded into the SEC network, which is under ESPN. It makes perfect sense for them to go to the SEC. I don't feel bad for I don't feel bad for the Big 12. Be better. And now you're adding these teams that are not going to move the needle, like UCF and nobody. Listen, nobody outside of Central Florida cares anything about UCF football. I'm a football guy, so don't put me in that. But when you're talking about media, when you're talking about the common institutional fan, the only people who are paying attention to UCF are UCF fans and people in Central Florida who might gravitate towards UCF if they're willing to give up their Florida State, Miami, or Florida allegiances, which we know they're not. So the Pac-12 adding irrelevant teams to their conference to try to keep their numbers, the Big 12 adding irrelevant teams to the conference to try to keep their numbers high, that doesn't move the needle. That's not going to get that done. That's not going to be the end result for them. They're going to flounder. They'll be fine because they'll have enough people. And if the Pac-12 really wanted to, just reach out to the Mountain West Pac-12, still all the Mountain West teams, and keep it moving. That's all you do. Still all those Mountain West teams, still all those West Coast teams, and keep it moving. It's not difficult, but the hypocrites are always going to hypocrite. Oregon's coach criticizing Colorado and what Coach Prime was doing, and when Colorado going back to the Big 12, only to turn around and go to the Big 10. It's the same thing with the PGA Tour admonishing the players who went to join the Live Golf Tour because they made millions upon millions of dollars, only to turn around and merge with the very Live Tour that they said was full of murderers and people who had blood money. I can't make this stuff up. It writes itself. The hypocrites are always going to hypocrite. So the next time you hear somebody say anything about, oh, the transfer portal is out of control, or, oh, these NLL deals are making these kids not have any motivation, I want them to look back at the people who've been in the game for a while and go, but you just did this. You guys just played hopscotch in conferences for money. Hey, nobody even talked about what's this move for USC and UCLA going to do for the players having to go to school. If I'm a basketball player at USC and I've got 3 games in a week in the Big 10, so all of my games are in Illinois or Rutgers, because Rutgers is in the Big 10, or Maryland, because Maryland is in the Big Ten. You're telling me I've got to go across country 3 times in a week, 2 times in a week? When am I actually going to go to class? Oh, I know. You're going to tell me to take online classes. No. Just sign up for online classes so you don't have to be in person. That's the answer. Look at how many people in this game now are taking online classes. Why? So that they can have more flexibility for sports. And if that's the case, then how is it student athlete? How is it student athlete? Isn't it athlete student? That's the hypocrisy of what they try to tell us. That's what they try to feed us. Coaches, stop lying to the kids. Tell them the truth. Colleges, stop lying to the kids. Tell them the truth. And better yet, while you're making all of this money, slide a couple dollars a player's way. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. You do this thing a few times a week. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. If you're joining me on the YouTube channel, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Till next time, peace.